Good afternoon. It's great to be back with everyone again. Wow, here we go. College football 2022. 32 days from now, we kick off the season, and it's unbelievable how fast it's going to be upon us, and couldn't be more excited. Appreciate the kind words from Commissioner Warren, and thank you to everyone here today and those around the country that cover Northwestern football in the Big Ten. We wouldn't have our opportunities that we have today without you. So thank you so much for what you do and how you cover our institutions and our programs. It's great to be back in Lucas Oil. Being here 2 out of the last 3 seasons has been something that I think everyone has as a goal as we kick off all of our 22 campaigns. But to be here a couple years ago is definitely a motivator every time you step back into this building as you get ready to embark on the season. I brought 3 absolutely outstanding young men and student athletes with me here to represent our program. Offensively, offensive tackle Peter Skronsky jumped onto the scene a few years ago and was an instant impact offensive lineman for us. On defense then, Adetomo Adebawore, who's, again, just like Peter, came into our program, quickly made a difference, took a big step last year, and look forward to watching him continue to progress. No doubt has assumed the leadership of our football team and of our defense. And then Cam Mitchell, another young man like Peter from Chicago, Land Community, Bolingbrook High School, and in the footsteps of Greg Newsome that's playing for the Browns, is next up to be potentially a high draft pick for us. Again, great leadership in the back end and has had an outstanding career early in the kick game and then most recently in the back end. But again, you guys come to hear me talk, so I'd love to answer any all questions you may have. And like I said, excited to kick the season off. We report tomorrow, and first practice is on Thursday. So let's make this fast. So honestly, go ahead, go Cats. Thanks.
All right, we'll open it up for questions for Coach. We'll start right over here.
Hey, Coach. Tom Bruce, Sports Illustrated, Indiana. One of the toughest things about being in the Big Ten is some high highs and some low lows that can follow quickly. What is your message to your guys this year who have been through that really good season 2 years ago and then the struggles from a year ago?
Yeah, Tom, you look at, the whys. You take the whole offseason to look at the cut-ups, really take a deep dive into schematically what we did, fundamentally what we did, how we can improve. For us a year ago, we were maybe one of the youngest from an experience standpoint in the Big Ten, where a lot of teams had most of their COVID guys come back. 2 years ago, we had our most veteran team, 11 guys get an opportunity to go on to the NFL. So, that difference in experience, we're back to that experience level with, about 65% of our production, as you kind of take the quarterback position out of it. So a lot coming back, and we need to draw upon that experience. But, fundamentally, we have to be better. We have to be better at just the basics of the execution of our offense, defense, kick game, and get back to playing at that championship level. Again, we have enough veterans that have been a part of both type seasons, and we need to lean upon that experience to take that step back to, first of all, getting back to bowl eligibility, excuse me, and then, competing for championships again. And we expect to do that very quickly.
Coach, to our left in the back.
Gino Green, Post-Game Central. USC, UCLA are joining the Big Ten in a couple of seasons. What are your thoughts on them being there and how it will impact you guys from a travel standpoint, even though there's still time left between now and 23?
Yeah, Gino, I'm excited to add SC and UCLA. Obviously the expansion of our footprint from the East Coast to the West. You're going to wake up watching Big Ten football and go to bed, watching Big Ten football. So that's exciting for our players. It's exciting for our fans. Will there be a travel component to it? Yeah, there is. But, we're going to Dublin in the opener, so it won't be that big of a deal. But when you look at the opportunities, especially for a school like Northwestern, we recruit, worldwide. We have a huge alumni base in Southern California. A few years back, I spoke at the Contemporary Art Museum to about 400 alums. We've always recruited California. So, I'm excited to add that component to it, where it's going to go. And how things are going to shake out by the time we get to 24. I think we'll all be excited to see how that goes. But it'll definitely be a new thing and a new opportunity. But I think the commissioner said it best. Change is kind of the word of college football right now. And, we'll lean forward and embrace that.
I saw somebody with their hand up here. Yep, over here.
How you doing, Coach? Levon Whitaker, ABC 57 News in South Bend. When you lose a guy of caliber like Brandon Joseph, who went over to Notre Dame, what does that do for your backfield this year?
Yeah, well, transfers are part of, the college football landscape right now. We've brought some outstanding newcomers into our program, and we've added competitive depth, I think, in positions we needed to up front in the defensive line. For sure is an area that we felt like we needed to add a little bit more competitive depth, and I'm excited about that. But again, change is upon us. And, maybe 17 years ago when I, first stood up here as a first-year head coach, if you lost a player or two, it was, something might be wrong with your program. Now it's just maybe a better opportunity for a young person at another institution. I've always been a firm believer in helping student athletes out and helping them do whatever is best for them and for their families and for their futures. And, if it's the guys that depart, they know, and I've had these conversations with them, that'll always be here for them. And the guys that we bring in as newcomers, I couldn't be more ecstatic to have them be with us. But from a back-end standpoint, to answer your question directly, it gives our secondary some guys that maybe that didn't have an opportunity, a new opportunity to, showcase their skills and get out there and become starters. And so I feel like our secondary probably is one of our strengths on our team. And, looking forward to watching those guys, as they move forward this year.
For here.
Hey, Pat, Andy Woodtree with On3. I think that every other Big Ten school has some sort of NIL entity or collective or nonprofit set up. I'm not sure I've seen one from Northwestern, so do you have any insight as to whether one will be announced, and if not, is that a concern at all?
Yeah, Andy, private school. We don't have to tell you. No, I'm just joking. There's obviously a lot of things that are in the works. I'm a little jealous of the guys right now. The mid-'90s NIL, it would have been a good deal for me. So, but I'm doing fine and I have no complaints. So I'm all for whatever makes the experience of the guys better. We've done a lot of things behind the scenes. You saw probably yesterday the announcement of the GM with Altius and things of that nature that we're progressing to, that I'm really excited for our guys to be able to have that in-house opportunity to really, for them to go to be able to leverage their brand and to leverage, being in the Chicagoland market, which is outstanding. We're going to do things at Northwestern the Northwestern way. It's not about being first. It's about trying to strive to do what's best and doing it the right way. And I have full confidence that our guys will be, taken care of the right way in the ways that we think fit our institution, our values. And then the outside entities you really can't control. But, I think our alums and the folks that touch our program understand the importance of this and want to make sure our guys are taken care of from a standpoint of professional growth, opportunities, financial opportunities, and look at this thing a little bit more holistically than maybe just, a few more dollars for a burger or something like that. Look at it a little bit more broad-based.
Okay, we have time for a couple more for Coach Fitz. Over here.
Hi, Pat. Scott Docterman with The Athletic. I wanted to ask you a little bit about Evan Hull at running back. He seemed to really play well late in the year in particular. What kind of skills does he bring, and how can he help your team move forward this year?
Yeah, Scott, Evan's a complete back. You look at the over 1,000 yards rushing the ball. We weren't maybe the balance that we wanted to have, and so people were able to load the box and be able to do that. A lot of that Evan was able to do after contact, and that shows you about his toughness and his physicality. He led the Big Ten as far as running backs and a receiving component. So he's got great hands. I think he can be more involved also in the kick game. And he's done a terrific job leading this summer. Just been so fun to watch Evan grow throughout his time in our program. And a lot of that credit goes to him. He's always been a first guy to show up, last guy to leave type mentality. To watch him kind of mature and wait a second, maybe if I get another extra hour of sleep or a little bit more recovery, I'll see some return on that investment. And, he's just a complete player. He's a complete person. And, we're really counting on him to get back to winning ways and back to championship football.
And we have one last question. Come on, somebody's got to have one more question for Coach Fitz. Let's go into the break here on a positive note. Here we go.
That's what happens when you win 3 games. Not a lot of questions.
John Steppe with the Cedar Rapids Gazette. if the Big Ten does away with divisions and goes into a couple protected rivalries, are there a couple rivalries in particular that you would prefer get protected?
Wow, it's a great one, John. Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Again, before I was a football coach, I was a football fan of the Big Ten, and I'll go back to when we actually had 10 teams. We played everybody, and it was this really unique thing. That was pretty awesome, I think, for us as student athletes and as fans. I hope we're able to do that. I think it's less about the rivalries and more making sure that our players and our fans are able to step into every venue and able to experience the pageantry of Big Ten football and find a way to be able to put that into the schedule. It's going to be complicated. But when you look at it from a holistic standpoint, I hope that's the experience of our Big Ten student athletes. Being able to play a game in Piscataway, New Jersey, and going out and being able to play a regular season game in the Coliseum or the Rose Bowl and everything in between, nobody else will be able to say that. And you're talking about unique, iconic venues, cathedrals of college football that are in the Big Ten landscape. And, the ability to participate in that as a student athlete, I think, is what's always made Big Ten football special. And I hope we're able to continue to keep that. The rivalries, that'll be fun. We'll create some cool trophies. And, I'm sure one will be Illinois for us. And beyond that, we'll figure it out. But I think most, if not all, of our rivalries in the Big Ten have been built on respect. And I'm sure that tradition will continue.
All right.